We're now coming to the end of 2025, so as promised back in the summer, let's reflect and review on everything that's happened on the channel this year before making a decision on the future of M4J. Hey everyone, this is normally the part where I say M4J here, but today I'm coming to you just as Mark, because there's a few things we need to talk about regarding the future of M4J, how the channel's performed this year, and whether or not it's going to continue. Now, I did say back in the summer during my 2K subscriber video that things needed to change in order for this channel to remain sustainable, and for the most part it was following the right trajectory. However, some things haven't still gone the way that I wanted them to, and therefore we need to have a little chat again now. Now, before we get started, I've got a whole list of notes on my screen here, my main monitor. I will try and get through them as quickly as possible. There may be some that I don't mention at all because they might not be fully relevant, but I've just taken the last couple of weeks to write down my honest thoughts about how things have gone in the second half of 2025 and the channel as a whole. You know, I've been doing this for 12 and a half years now, which is a big chunk of my life. And some of it has been great, some of it's not been great. There's a lot that's happened in my life over the last year and a half that's meant that the channel needed to do a lot more for me. And in some respects it has, and in some respects it hasn't. And I just want to be as honest and transparent with you guys as possible about it all, in all honesty. So we're going to do a flip to the script. Normally in something like this, you start off with the positives and then you talk about the negatives. This time around, I want to talk about the negatives first and get those out of the way. And then we can talk about the things that are a little happier, because it's not all bad news, but there are certain things that I really do need to get across for various different reasons. So first of all, 2025. Let's talk about it as a whole. Overall, it has been the best year on YouTube for me. A lot of what I've been trying has worked to an extent, but between September and December, where I'm talking to you now, things haven't gone so well. There is a trend on YouTube that around Christmas time, things do drop off slightly. Advertising revenue goes up. We're not going to talk too much about the money side of things right now. We'll come to that in a moment. The revenue does go up because companies are trying to push things out as Christmas presents and things, but viewership does tend to drop. So overall, you kind of get this balance. Now, every year this has been the case. Viewership declines, and we kind of expect it. However, between September and December, mine has gone down way more than the average, even compared to last year. You know, I've tried to keep a level head on it as much as possible, but I know what's a good month and what's a bad month now, and November in particular was not a good month. And you know, recency bias and things like that, it's the most recent month. But when I talk about the positives in a moment, you'll see why November being as it is such a big worry. Transport Fever 2, From Steam to Electricity, that has been by far the worst performing series over the last 2 months. There is actually a good reason for it, I believe. However, it also highlights something else that's quite concerning about the channel. Videos in that series used to get over 200 views within a 24-hour period. The last one that went out, I think, is still less than 50, and that went out like weeks ago now. So some of it is to do with the subject of the video. I've noticed that when a ship appears on the thumbnail, the views just don't come. That's worrying because, you know, shipbuilding is a big part of the game. You know, it's not all trains and trucks. And it kind of dictates what does and doesn't make a video now. If you want to build an airport, you've got to think, oh, would a plane on the thumbnail actually get views? And it's not how I want to be as a creator, in all honesty. So that series is still my favorite to record. I love that game. I cannot wait for Transport Fever 3. But I've stopped it for now because I can't get it to perform the way I want it to, which is a real shame. The reason I think the viewership has dropped off is I can't promote my content anymore in the same way that I did previously. I don't like to spam social media groups. It's not my thing. It might come across as being my thing, but I do try and interact as well. But Transport Fever especially, I share my content on Reddit and I share it on Facebook. And if you've seen those posts, hopefully you've interacted with them in some way, because that's really, really helpful. The Facebook groups seem to be under new management, or some rules have changed or something. And now all of my posts on there have to go through a moderation process, which I've been on the other end of that. When I was in my old day job, we ran the F1 manager group on Facebook and we had to approve certain people's posts. And I totally understand why that decision may have been made, because I was just primarily posting links. However, 7 episodes in a row weren't being approved nor denied. They were just stuck in limbo, which meant potential views were lost. And I estimate that if I was getting 200 views in a video, at least 2/3 of that was coming from Facebook. So to lose that amount in a video is a really big deal to me. And it happened, like I said, 7 weeks in a row. So that's, what are we talking about here? Somewhere between 150 to 175 views per video. Let's call it 150 because it's easier to work out. So that's 700, 350. So we're looking at 1,000 views potentially that have been lost because of that. And again, I get it. Moderation on social media is difficult. People who just post links all the time, I get it. But I see some of the other posts that have gone out on those groups. Some of it is very obviously AI. Some of it is very low effort. I do try and put descriptions on my stuff and, you know, actually treat it like a conversation rather than just link, bam, post. So I found that really disappointing. And I think, I mean, long-term viewers will know I've had a very love-hate relationship with Transport Fever 2. As much as I love the game, I've had some very bad experiences because of it. And it's just kind of like another nail in the coffin, really, for whether I want to carry on doing that sort of thing, which is really disappointing. So, yeah, not being able to promote content means not being able to get the views. You could argue that when I've done it in the past, maybe I should have attracted more subscribers and then we would have been able to bypass Facebook in the first place. That's another point I'll come on to in a moment. Subscriber count is way below what my target was for the end of this year. This might sound stupidly ambitious, but when we hit 2,000 subs back in, I want to say it was June time. I think it was just in time for the anniversary of the channel. So it was like late June, early July. I had a target of at least 2,500, potentially 3,000 by the end of this year, which I know sounds stupid, getting 1,000 subs in 6 months. But again, old job. I managed to build a channel to 15,000 subscribers in just over a year. So I know it's possible and I know what it takes. There is another issue there, which we'll come to in a moment as well. At the time of recording this, I have 2,232 subscribers, which I'm incredibly grateful for still. It's not that I'm looking at it thinking, none of you mean anything, I need more. Every single person who's hit subscribe is part of my community as far as I'm concerned. Whether you did it 12 years ago or whether you did it yesterday, I'm just as appreciative of all of you. I just wish it was at least 3,000 because that was the target that I set. I'm not saying we're closing the doors because I didn't get 1,000 subs in 6 months, because that's stupid. But it's a big part of the disappointment of content creation right now is you set these targets and you're almost setting yourself up to fail the second you do it, because hitting these targets is just not feasible right now, in all honesty. And that kind of leads into the next point, which is struggling for motivation. Global Ventures and Somerset MTR. They are kind of my play around and have fun series. So my channel's built on some principles. I don't tend to talk about these openly, but I like to have a hook series, which is like a long-term thing. There may be big gaps between episodes, but it's kind of the one that I want to be known for, you know? So in my case right now, it's the M4J network. Doing what I do on OpenTTD is incredibly time-consuming. It's also something that no one else is doing right now. Some are coming close, but not quite scratching the same itch that I do. And it takes a long time to produce those videos, so I spread them out a little bit. Then I have the fun series that I just do for the enjoyment of playing games and doing live commentary, and that's what Transport Fever 2 currently is, where I can just sit for 45 minutes to an hour, record some gameplay, and basically post it unedited, but sort of edit it as I'm recording it. So sometimes there's lulls and there's, waffle and stuff like that, and a video goes on for twice the length it should. But it's still good content as far as I'm concerned, otherwise I wouldn't release it. But that's kind of the two ends of the spectrum. You've got the high effort, edited, time-lapse stuff with animations and all that kind of thing, and then you've got the low effort, to an extent, unedited, goes out basically as you see it recorded kind of content. And then we have the kind of ones in the middle where it's a bit of both. So Somerset, I can just hop on, build a station, build a line, whatever it might be, and do it as a live build. Or I do the ones like I do with Global Ventures, where I talk about doing something, hard cut to it being done, and then a breakdown of how I did it. Those videos I do enjoy making, but when you put weeks of your life into a video and then it gets like 20 views after a week, it's not really worth doing. So as much as I love doing those things, I'm really struggling for motivation. I have ideas as to what I want to do with the park, especially Global Ventures, and I'm midway through theming Bandito, which is this big record-breaking roller coaster that I've built. But I'm really good at coming up with ideas for stuff. Like, I know how I want it to look, and I've even used, and I'll admit this now, I've used AI tools to help generate concept art, not just for the park, but for most things that I do now. These are images that will never be shared publicly. I do agree with the whole thing with AI art, but I use it to kind of get the ones and zeros in my head onto something that I can then use as reference when I'm actually building. But then I take that image and then I go into the game and I'm like, I have no idea how to actually make this reality. And there are some things where I've built it exactly as it looks in the image. And I look at it in the image and I'm like, this is awesome. And then I look at mine and I'm like, this is shit. And I will swear in this video, by the way, because I'm Mark today. I'm not M4J. It's not what I had in mind. And it's kind of, that episode of The Simpsons when Homer's trying to build the barbecue and he holds up the picture and he's like, this looks good. Why doesn't mine look like this? That's how I feel. It could look almost identical and it still doesn't do it for me, and it kind of, it leads into a bit of an imposter syndrome as well. Like, I watch other people play Planet Coaster 2 especially. There's a couple of creators I watch who are awesome, and I see what they build and I'm like, I can do that. I know I can do that. I used to be an engineer. I can do the ride design side of things. What I can't do is what makes them stand out, which is the scenic side of it. And that's where a collaboration would come in really handy, actually. I build the track and they build the scenery. But something else that I'm going to talk about is that's not always a feasible thing to do on YouTube these days. So it's a lack of belief. And as I said, imposter syndrome. I think the only thing that I do that I'm truly 100% proud of right now is OpenTCD. Everything else, I kind of look at it afterwards and I'm like, could have done better there. That wasn't good enough. I am definitely my own biggest critic. And to have someone tell me not long ago that I need to work on myself, which was such a weird out of the blue comment for them to make. But I guess they have a point to an extent, because I'm not exactly cheerful chappy all the time when I build these things. And there are times where I'm like, I don't even know if I want to put this video out because I don't think it's what I can do best. And yeah, it gets to you after a while. It really does get to you after a while. And you start to question, can you still do it? And things like that. But every time I think about that, I then do something else that gets a really good response. And it kind of leaves you in a bit of a limbo situation as well of, oh, I'm shit at this, but I'm really good at this. So what do you do? And yeah, it's just sometimes the reaction as well is nowhere near what I want it to be. And I'm not talking about criticism. Please do criticize if you don't like the content. That's absolutely fine. It's more you put your heart and soul into something and you dedicate a lot of time to it, and you push it out there, and I'm not just a creator, I am a viewer. So I've seen other channels grow by doing what I'm now trying to do, which is you just put your stuff out there, you give it the best opportunity possible, and in the case of these other creators, it gets a really good response, viewership increases, subscriber count goes up and things like that. When I do it, it's almost like it trips over and face plants into a puddle. You know, it just doesn't do what I want it to do. And again, Global Ventures is the great example of this. When the game first launched last year, I got really good viewership on the first few videos, and I was like, this is the one. This is definitely the one. And I know there are gaps between uploads in that series, but other channels I watch do the exact same thing. And then mine goes out and it does crap. Theirs goes out, 10,000 views in the first 24 hours. And I'm like, why? I don't know. Actually, I think I do know. But again, that's something else we're going to talk about in a moment. There's a lot of things to come back to. I hope I remember to do it all, actually, because I got the notes, but I'm kind of winging it as I'm doing it as well. And trying to do this all in a single take because I don't really want to be editing this close to Christmas. So what have I talked about? Struggling for motivation, imposter syndrome, not just me affected. Yep, there are other channels that I watch, some of whom have actually shut down this year because of viewership or in some extreme cases, they've been having threats against them, which is ridiculous. Why anyone would drag themselves down to the level of threatening a stranger online, I have no idea. We seem to be a society right now that is not in a stable format, should we say. It's like trying to open a JPEG in the wrong program. I don't want to get into politics, so I'm not going to. But yeah, I actually feel like, as stupid as it sounds, I'm a guy who makes train videos on YouTube from time to time. I feel like there's a lot of things not related at all to the content that is affecting YouTube. But yeah, that's not on my notes, so I'm not going to talk about that. But yeah, I've seen a lot of channels give up this year, and some of them are channels that I've watched for as long as I've been doing YouTube, if not longer. And even those who aren't giving up, they are feeling the pinch right now. And, you know, there are channels that have inspired me, and games that I would never have dreamt of playing had I not seen these people play them first. And they're now in a situation where they're questioning, do they continue? And it's really hard to stay motivated when people you admire so much are in the same position as you. Because normally you would look at them and think, if they can do it, then there's still an option out there. Like, it's still possible. But when they're struggling too, and these are established creators as well. As I said, they've been in the space almost as long as the site has existed. And if they're struggling, then you know that something is wrong. And it makes you question so many different things, not just with yourself, but also, is it worth doing for the platform? Is it still the same place that it was before? And that kind of brings me on to the next point of YouTube is not what it used to be. The site as a whole has changed. Some of it is really good, some of it not so good, some of it is completely unintentional from their part. You know, I'm not blaming all of this on YouTube or Google or whoever. What I actually blame it on is those who are questing their 15 minutes, as it were, where they want to take a shortcut to success, and they just produce some cheap AI slop. They steal content from others, whatever it might be, and they stick it out there. And whether or not they have good SEO and get good views off it is irrelevant, because it's like polluting the pool. You know, they're pouring chlorine into the lake, as it were. Just by that video existing, it makes it harder for a genuine creator to get noticed, because now, imagine there's just an empty genre on YouTube, and I upload something, and I'm 100% of the market. As soon as someone takes that video and uploads it themselves, that's now 50% of the market. It's already halved. If someone else does it, that's another 17% lost. And if another person does it, I'm now down to a quarter of what I originally had. Imagine that, but it's thousands of times a day. And I'm not saying that I'm the best at any of this or anything like that. And it's not even talking about me as an individual. It's creators as a whole are struggling now to get noticed in the way that they used to, because of all of this crap that's being shoved out there every single day. every single second. I could do the whole, every time I click my fingers, another AI garbage video gets uploaded. But, you know. Viewer trends have also changed. TikTok has ruined it for everybody. Now everyone has the attention span of a goldfish. If you upload something that's longer than 30 minutes, people tell you that it's too long, which is, again, insane. We're in a generation now where a 3-hour film is too short for some people, but a video that's longer than a minute is considered too long. Now, I don't plan out a lot of my impromptu recordings. So like Transport Fever 2, I have a basic idea of what I want to do in a session, but I don't sit there and say between the first minute and the 10th minute, I'm going to be doing this. You know, it kind of just happens. And there are a lot of times where I go over what the time frame that I've set for myself, which is normally between 30 and 45 minutes. It actually feels weird now when I stop a video around the 30-minute mark. It feels like I'm shortchanging people. And I put it out there and I already know it's too long, but there isn't much I can cut out of it without losing the entire context of the video, because there's something I'll say in minute 5 that I refer back to in minute 45. So, yeah, it's hard to keep things trim, but just knowing even that 45 minutes for me is not a long time if the video is good. But for some people, those who sit and just swipe through shorts and TikTok and Instagram and all that stuff, that's too long, and therefore they don't watch it. They see the little number in the corner and they're like, too long, and scroll on to something else. Those who are genuinely committed, they get to enjoy the video, really, because it's not too long for them. And I have tried to make things shorter, but I don't want to change too much of what I am. I don't want to talk faster. I don't want to rush things. If I rush things, it tends to be crap, and then I don't want to release it. So I do try and keep things as authentic as possible, but the audience demand no longer fits in with what I want to offer as a creator. And the long videos are no longer in vogue, but also the longer series. So like, I like a series to get to 100 episodes. I feel like that's a real achievement, and for some people that's too long. You basically have 10 episodes to get to the crux of what you're doing, and if you don't, you might as well give up, because you're not going to get your audience. The views drop off after every video anyway. You can launch a brand new series and you can already hear the timer ticking down for how long people are going to be interested in it. And again, this isn't just me. This actually refers more to the bigger channels that I watch than it does to me. But I've seen other people talk quite candidly about, they use cheats in games now because they have to rush to a certain point. Otherwise, people will just lose interest in what they're doing. And I think that's incredibly sad that we're now in that situation, because these are genuinely talented people who, they're not just producing crap and putting it out there. You know, they spend a lot of time and dedication and skill making these videos. And you have people saying, took too long, not interested. So, yeah. Now, it's also the fact when I watch other creators as well, very rarely these days do things have a natural conclusion. You'll watch a series and you're looking forward to the next episode, and then you get a community post or a Facebook message or whatever it might be saying, sorry guys, viewership wasn't what I wanted, we're not doing it anymore. And it just leaves this kind of hole in you where, you know, you either need to go find something else that fills that void, or you're just stuck in this limbo of, I wanted to see where that was going. And I feel like that as a creator as well. There are times where I've not finished a series and I feel, first of all, guilty, and second of all, unfulfilled, because I wanted to see where it was going as well. So, yeah, you now have like 20 episodes to do a series, maximum, maybe 50 if you're lucky. And already every series that I have on the channel is reaching that number or has exceeded it. And that's worrying, because I don't want to end these series. I'm enjoying them. And as long as the views are there, there's no reason to end them. And I have big plans. And that's the thing as well, of not just the M4J network, but other games I'm playing. I have ideas that I want to get out there and see what other people think. And no one's there anymore. You know, you're knocking, but no one's answering. And that's also really sad. If you plan something to be a short burst, 20 episodes and then that's it, and you actually have a natural conclusion, that's different. But when something just ends because the audience isn't there, I can't imagine I'm the only one who gets quite downbeat about that you're being forced to wrap up something that you were really enjoying for reasons that are beyond your control. I need to start picking up the pace here because this is going to be a long video otherwise. My content used to be regularly 1 to 2 hours. Now needs to be less than 45 minutes. Kind of talked about that already. When I do my OpenTTD videos, I record in sections. And they can be weeks apart, those sections. And I do try and keep track as to how long the video is. But there are times, particularly when it comes to time lapses, where I need to actually view the footage at different speeds to see what works. And there are some recently where I've had to really speed up the footage to fit it in the video in its entirety. And it's almost like a strobe show. And I don't like that. Those time lapses I don't like at all. And I'm surprised people haven't pointed it out to me actually, how fast they go. It's not what I wanted to do. But to keep the video within a viewable time frame, I've had to do it. The last one that went out was an hour and 40. Without that time lapse, it probably would have been even shorter. But the time lapse was kind of important to the video, so had to leave it in. It also didn't help in the last video that I misnamed a file and ended up with two 30-ish minute clips that were basically identical because I couldn't find the first one, so I re-recorded it, then found the first one and realized there was things I'd said in it that I hadn't already. So yeah, that wasn't ideal. That was because I was rushing to get the video finished. If I'd have had a bit more time, I probably wouldn't have made that mistake, but that's kind of on me because I didn't do my schedule properly. Yeah, I try and keep content short. Back in July, I talked about it, and I think I did a community post as well, which was really confusing because most people said they were actually fine with the video length being what it is, but then I've had loads of people telling me my videos are too long. So I don't know what that's all about. Very contradictory. But I did try and sort of rush things a bit more. I tried to talk a bit quicker. I tried to build things a bit quicker, and it just wasn't fun. I didn't feel like I was me. It was almost like me, but like on 1.5 times speed, which I don't enjoy. So I will try and make a conscious effort to keep things within a time period. But at the same time, I'm very much like I couldn't give less of a fuck about it, in all honesty. I want to get a video that feels organic. And if I'm rushing it and editing it and chopping bits out of it, it doesn't have that organic feeling anymore. There are things that I will cut out of a video if I feel like it's not necessary. But I think one thing that makes me stand out amongst others is I'm not all jump cuts in your face. Every 5 seconds we have to see things from a slightly different angle. I try and keep things flowing and smooth if I can help it. Or if there is a cut, you'll know there's a cut because my logo flashes on and off. And that is, we're moving on from that thing and we're going on to something else. I like to do that and actually have a video be almost like a story from start to finish. But again, that's not really what YouTube's about these days, which is very depressing. Yeah, now on to the other thing that I really don't like about YouTube right now, which is it takes, for OpenTTD, it takes like 2 weeks on average to make a video now. So from start to finish, a lot of it is doing the timetabling and stuff off camera. That's not your problem. I made that problem for myself. But you get to the end of it and you just want to get the video out, and then you have to do the title and the thumbnail, which back in the day, if you go right back to the start of my channel, it was literally like Jeffries plays Cities in Motion 2, episode 10, and then the next one, episode 11, episode 12. And what pisses me off right now is there are still creators out there who get hundreds of thousands of views who still do that now. Episode 1, episode 2. They might give each episode its own title, but that crux of it, of game, series, number, it's all there in the title. Now I tried to do that, and I have crap SEO because of it. My tool that I use gives me a score, and the score is like 10 out of 100. So I've started to try and do these more I don't like clickbaity titles, but I try and make it a little more eye-catching. So I use block capitals for certain words, and I try and use, you know, powerful words like failure or great or awesome, fantastic, awful, whatever it might be. Words that if you see them in block capitals, you're like, oh, what's this about? I hate doing that. I absolutely despise it. But I have had no choice because I need to get the SEO up. And in terms of impressions on YouTube, my analytics are telling me at least that it's working. But just because the video is seen doesn't mean it's watched. They are two different things. And it now takes like 2 hours to do an upload with the titling and the thumbnail. And the worst one is the timestamps. Now there's this feature on YouTube called automatic chaptering. I have it enabled on all of my videos. Not once have I seen it work. I don't know what it actually does. I was under the impression that it would detect natural breaks in the conversation and it will add captions, chapters to that. And if you have annotations appear on screen, captions, it would be able to detect that and then correctly label each chapter. Tried it, didn't work. No idea what it does. But it means to do the timestamps, I now have to basically watch the entire video as I'm uploading it to get the timestamps. It is good in some ways because I've managed to spot mistakes in editing through doing it and gone back and fixed them. It's awful in other ways because I don't have the time. And that's why things stopped being the way they were. I used to have all of my videos for a month finished in the previous month and uploaded on the first weekend of that month. So December, now, I would have had all of my videos uploaded before the first week of December because I would have done them in November. But now I have to dedicate, if I've got 4 videos that are an hour long, I have to dedicate at least 4 hours over that weekend to do the timestamps. I don't have that kind of time right now. I'm trying to do other things in my life. So that's made things so much harder. Thankfully, you guys came in clutch there because I asked you, do you want detailed time lapses or do you want more loose ones? And now that process, if the video is an hour long, I can do it in less than half an hour because I can just skip through to the key bits, going mostly off memory, which again, if I record a video and then 3 weeks later upload it, I can't always remember exactly what the video is about. So I still have to watch aspects of it to get the context. But it's made my life a little bit easier. But I still have to get the title, which I've had really good titles before now that have been rejected by my scoring thing. And that's a pain. And then I have to do the thumbnail, which means having to find an image that is somewhat related to the title and then putting that in. And again, with Transport Fever, there's not much you can do other than pictures of trains going back and forth. And in some cases, one of the trains that I've used in a thumbnail is actually from either a previous video or an upcoming video, because it's the only one I've got that was somewhat relevant that looked good. And I hate it. I really do hate it. I don't enjoy it. I've never enjoyed that side of YouTube, doing the bulk uploads, and I enjoy it even less now. So it's one of the reasons why videos aren't going up perhaps as frequently as they should be as well, is because I don't like it. And I'm going to have to watch this one. And I'm already 33 minutes in and we're only about a third of the way through the video. So that's not good. Yeah, the story of a video changes constantly because of the need to change the title right at the point of upload. So I have a full picture in mind as to how I want the video to be. And I've even dropped titles, like the names of videos, in the intro before now. And then I've had to change it because it failed the score. And I don't like that. And just to try and get good SEO, and then the video goes out, and I think it becomes a bit too sensationalist. I can't even say the word. It becomes too clickbaity, in other words, and people don't click on it. So it kind of does the opposite of clickbait. It's like anti-clickbait. But yeah, the video then flops, and then all that effort was for nothing, which is really sad as well. When you work in a niche genre like I do, I've got here sandbox plus transport plus realism. So it's not just, you know, we're going to build big highways with 20,000 foot high viaducts and things. I try and keep things grounded and realistic, and especially in OpenTTD, no one ever said to me, hey Mark, why don't you implement real world transport planning philosophy into a game from the 1990s. No one asked me to do that. I chose to do that off my own back. So I admit that I chose to do something incredibly niche. But attracting new viewers to that has always been difficult. Even when I played Cities in Motion and Cities in Motion 2, getting viewers in for that was difficult. But I just kept plugging away, because back then YouTube was a game of patience. If you kept going, you kept promoting, eventually someone would do word of mouth and you'd hit the jackpot. And even now, those are my most watched videos on the channel, are the Cities in Motion ones. I think 20 something thousand is my highest, which I'm incredibly grateful for. And the first day that I realized I'd had a video hit 10,000, never mind 20, that was such a good feeling. And that was what I was known for back in the day, was Cities in Motion 2. And I try and bring some of that forward now into what I do. You know, the Transport Fever 2 style that I play is from Cities in Motion 2. And the video style even is from what I did back then. You know, do an intro, build some stuff, make it look cool, outro, done. No editing, nothing. And yeah, so to get back on point, the genre I do is incredibly niche. So I know I'm not going to be getting millions of views. But I know as well that my stuff isn't getting anywhere near as many views as other people who are doing something similar. So I know it's possible. I just need to find how to do it. And actually a lot of it is because YouTube stifles a lot of things unintentionally because of its algorithm. Can't promote on groups like I used to do because I don't want to be seen as spamming. That is definitely not something I want to do. And there are so many groups now that have hard limits because of other people's actions. Posting stuff hourly. Don't want to. I didn't want to do that anyway. Once a week is my limit, and that's the self-imposed limit. But I've seen people who literally post updates every hour on what they're working on with links and images and things like that. And now there are rules on groups. Don't post spam, basically. And unfortunately, I do fall under that category. The worst one, though, is word of mouth is still the most common way for something to grow. Just telling a friend or telling a family member, even in this day and age where everything is super modern and high tech, word of mouth is the best way to grow. And I don't have that. YouTube tries to help. My impressions every month are in the hundreds of thousands. My views are in the tens of thousands. There is at least a 90% drop off between the number of impressions and the number of views. YouTube does its job in that regard. It pushes my content out to those it thinks will enjoy it. What I need is for those who actually enjoy it to find their friends, family, whoever it is, and tell them, if they have a similar interest, of course, and tell them and send them a link and things like that. And I'm not saying spam groups. I'm not saying post it in random conversations and hope for the best. I mean, literally, like if you go to a restaurant and you have a good meal, and the next time you talk to someone, you go, oh, I went to this restaurant last week and it was really good. I recommend you go there. That kind of word of mouth promotion. That's what I mean. And you get the viral stuff where it goes viral because people share it with their friends. We need a bit more of that going on. And that's, that's mainly what's holding me back right now, is just not having that level of promotion. So I think that's the content as a whole covered negatively. Now we need to talk about some other things. Some of it's going to sound really bad in a second, but I don't mean it to. But membership and Patreon support. So first of all, everyone who has contributed, not just now, but across the years, you are all awesome. I love you to pieces. You've kept this channel going. However, the numbers are still far below what this channel needs in order to sustain itself. So I have currently 3 servers running. One has Somerset on it. One has my website on it. And one has the database that I'm currently working on for OpenTTD. Now that third one, I'm paying for that myself right now because that's not something that the channel is currently utilizing. Therefore, that's my own personal expense. But the website is part of the business and the business is therefore paying for it. And the Somerset one, because you guys are the reason that server exists, the business is also paying for that. And Currently, there are 3 of us who have access to that server. If you become a member or a Patreon supporter, you will be added to that list. Other things need to get paid for by the business. And just to be clear, M4J is a business. It is registered. So there are things like my editing software, my thumbnail creation software. Most of it is Adobe, but sometimes I use other things as well. Not AI. I do not pay for AI. I will never pay for AI currently. And that's not an expense that you guys need to worry about. M4J, the business, will never pay for AI. If I use something to help with a video, I will cover that myself. Because again, I don't want to be seen to be utilizing AI at all if I can help it. But when I do use it, I try and use it to fill gaps in my knowledge. And that's not something you guys need to be responsible for. But I need more, basically. And I think there's something there that I've done wrong, not you guys. So I think the biggest problem with the tiers right now is they're too expensive. That's something I've been thinking about for a long time, and I have been asking people about it. I put out a poll, didn't really get the responses that I needed to get a good idea. I have talked to existing supporters about lowering the tier amounts and what that would mean. The only reason I haven't done it right now is because the business needs that money that is coming in to pay for these things. So I don't want to say to them, you know, your tier amount is lowering, you have to pay less, but as a result of that, your rewards are also decreasing because we can't afford the servers anymore. That's not what I want to do. I want to lower the amount you guys need to pledge without touching the rewards. So you get the same rewards now as you did before, but it costs you less. That's what I want to do, because the times we live in right now, I cannot be asking people for huge amounts of money. That just does not sit right with me at all. It's one of the reasons why I don't support more channels. I can't possibly expect you guys to do the same. That's incredibly hypocritical. So, I think currently we have 3 YouTube members and 3 Patreon supporters. I think both of those are about a third of what is actually needed. So we need 9 and 9 in total, or 18 on one, I suppose. Depends on what tiers you're all on, of course, and it depends how much those tiers are. And that's just to run the servers that I've talked about, those 3 servers. That's not including covering things like domain names, Adobe subscription. What else do I use? Oh, I have a widget on my website as well that shows the latest video. Doesn't cover any of that stuff. This is just for the servers. This is stuff that you guys will be interacting with directly. For the other stuff, again, right now, that's not your problem. That's for me to worry about. But just for the stuff that you guys need to worry about, that's how much, as a guesstimate right now, but that's how much I believe we need. To move away from the money side, because I never like talking about it, it makes my skin crawl slightly. Lack of interaction. So it's not just membership and supporting and things like that, but interaction as a whole. I talked about word of mouth, but another really good way of helping the channel grow is just to hit that like button on the videos, or leave a comment, or whatever it used to be. When I did my Cities in Motion 2 videos, I know for a period I turned off comments on my channel because, my God, it got so toxic. But I had a lot more input from people as well. People, like regular viewers, commenting every single week on videos, saying what they thought about what they were watching. And YouTube, again, just isn't that anymore. People have short attention spans. As soon as one video is finished, they're already thinking about the next one. That doesn't help us as creators. If you click off the video before it even finishes, you haven't helped us at all. We've helped you by giving you something to fill your time, but you haven't helped us. And again, I'm not asking you to give me the deeds to your house or anything like that. I literally just need you to go down to that little thumbs up button. Looks a bit like this underneath the video, and it takes less than 3 seconds to click it. But you doing that is the difference between my video flopping and my video getting the views that I think it needs. So, commenting as well. Any kind of interaction, even if you don't like the video, the dislike button can still help. First of all, it tells me that something was wrong, so I can look to fix it. And if you put a comment with it as well, that's even more helpful because then I know what needs to be fixed. And it can help the video get the reach that it deserves. So interaction, it takes seconds, literally seconds. A 3-word comment as well, literally seconds, and it makes all the difference. So if you are one of those people that just moves on to the next video, do try and take some time out to hit the like button. It's something I've started doing a lot more of as well, because I was guilty of it too. It's hard when you're watching playlists to do it, I admit, but it does make a massive, massive difference. So please do consider it if you don't already. The last thing, when I ask you guys for feedback, it's not a trap. I promise you that. It is me genuinely trying to get an idea as to what the channel needs in order for videos to be better. So when I ask for feedback right now, it feels like I'm being ignored. I put out polls. I put out just posts in general. I ask on the Discord. I've even messaged people individually. And a lot of time, I never get responded to. If I do something wrong in a video, like I've had times in the past where the audio was out of sync by like half a second, and I got literally tens, if not hundreds of comments from people telling me that. I already knew the audio was out of sync, but it was too late to fix it. So when something goes wrong, everyone wants an opinion on it. But when I'm asking for legitimate ways to improve things, everyone disappears. It's like, oh God, he's actually asked us, scatter. And then you all just, yeah. I need more input in order to be better. And that's a genuine admission here. I need to know what I need to do to give you guys the videos that you want to watch. And it's very much a two-way street. So if I put out a poll, there are always options on the poll to just see the results. You don't have to vote necessarily. There's always one that's like, oh my God, who the hell are you? Or something like that. And that's basically the just see results. Even clicking that is interaction, which then means that poll gets pushed to those who actually would give valuable feedback. So again, it just takes 3 seconds. If you see anyone put out a poll and there is just an option to see the results, just vote for that. First of all, you get to, quench your curiosity and see what the results of the poll are. And second of all, you actually then help that poll be pushed to more people who can provide valuable input. So I always try and make my polls a bit jokey in certain ways, but there's a genuine crux to it that I'm asking for help, in other words. So please do help. That's it for the negatives. Well, we're 47 minutes in, so oh boy. Sorry guys, this is going to be one of those long videos. We're talking about the positives now, because believe it or not, there have been loads. I didn't want it to sound too doom and gloom, but yeah, there was a lot there that's just been bugging me for such a long time. But yeah, we reached 2,000 subscribers. I said back in June. It wasn't. It was in April. But the Q&A, I think, went out in July. I think I did that for the anniversary of the channel, and that's probably why I misremembered. But yeah, we hit 2,000 subscribers back in April. That was huge. It took so long to hit 1,000, and we did 2,000 in less than half that time. So that was, again, huge. So thank you very much, everybody, for that. And even since then, we've grown by another 10%, which is also awesome. So whether you joined me from the beginning, I know people have said they've been around since the Cities in Motion 2 days, which again is just mind-blowing that you've actually stuck with me through all of that. Because there was some pretty turbulent times around lockdown as well. So thank you very much, everyone who has stuck by, supported, shown your faith in me in some ways. It's very humbling. And I know I've talked about the next one and failing to reach it, but I'm never not grateful for you guys, because the channel wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for you guys. So huge thank you for that. Consistently broke view records. This was a huge one. This was a really big one for me. And there's something, yeah, we have milestones as well, which I'll talk about in a moment. So January this year, 15,000 views. This is across shorts and long form. So the majority of it, admittedly, came from shorts. But 15,000 views. I think it was 15,100 and something in January, right back at the start of the year. And that was my viewership record for a month. No month had exceeded that before. Then in September, so 3 months ago, we got just shy of 16,000. And then literally a month later, we hit just under 20,000 in October in a single month. So to go up 5,000 views per month in the space of 9 months was awesome. And a lot of it came from my OpenTTD tutorials and the shorts that were made from those, which shows that that was a good gamble. And I am planning more of those to complement those ones already. And even some of the longer videos that are already out there, I now want to bring down the time length of those videos. Can't even speak anymore. Shorten the length of those videos and still make them coherent. So I did like an hour-long one on airports and an hour-long one on ships. Both of those I've been slated for just waffling on. Sort of a fair point. I want to make those more scripted like the recent railway ones. So yeah, we're going to look at doing that. The older content still drawing in views. OpenTTD tutorials. My most watched video this year, at the time of recording this, is an OpenTTD tutorial that's got like 4,500 views just this year. And I believe it's a video from 2 years ago, if not longer. That's also insane. It shows that, it kind of shows my new thinking for YouTube as well, which is to make stuff that even in 10 years is still relevant. Everyone chases the trends, but then when those trends die, so do they. You know what I mean? Like their channel doesn't really hit the same heights anymore. Whereas if you make something that can still be relevant in 20 years time, that video will still pick up views. It will still show up in search results. It will still get watched. It will still be useful to someone. Yeah, OpenTTD tutorials in particular doing really well, considering some of them were badly planned. I think I've covered that already. We also hit several viewer milestones too, or view count milestones. So the channel hit 525,000 views in January, which was a really nice birthday present for me. That was the same time we hit 15,000 views for that month alone. We then hit 575,000 in May. I don't know when we hit 550. For some reason I didn't get a notification on that one. But yeah, 575,000 in May. 2 months after that, we hit 600,000. And then 2 months after that, we hit 625,000. And then just 1 month later, we hit 650,000. Now, I could, if I wanted to, look up right now how many the channel has got now. I think we're approaching 700,000. But I don't know how far away we are from that. But just constantly hitting those milestones in that continuous progression meant I was doing something right. And again, going back to the start of the video, that's why the September to December period has hit me so hard, because November, you'll notice in all of these, November, no records broken, which I know you can't break records forever, but I think November was like half of what we did in October, which is not good. And in terms of the view milestones, we were nowhere near hitting 700,000 or even 675. So yeah, again, it comes mostly from shorts, but those shorts are out there for a reason. Most of them are designed to bring people into the longer form stuff. So yeah, it seems to be doing well in that regard, and it's doing what it was planned to do, which is awesome. I found a USP again, unique selling point for those of you that don't know. The M4J network right now is in the best place it's been in for years. When I went back to the start of this current series, the new M4J network, and sold all of the trains, there was a part of me that thought, we are never going to get these back. There will be elements of the network that will never be the way they were. And in some ways I was right, because huge sections of the network now have been completely rebuilt and look extremely different to how they did 2-3 years ago. But I was genuinely worried that I wouldn't find a way to realistically schedule trains. Now at this point, I have to give a huge shout out to Mastertrams, who is a timetable planning marvel when it comes to helping me. He's a professional, he works in the rail industry, and I don't think I even know a fraction of what he does when it comes to this sort of thing. But the information he's given me and the knowledge has helped me plan out these trains. And because of that, I've been able to produce way more episodes in the series than I thought I would. And I think we've got like 10 franchises up and running, or at least planned. We've got so much more done than I thought was possible, and because of that, the database has started to be worked on, which is again is something I wanted to do it. I thought it would happen in the next few years, but then I also thought it's never going to happen because the channel will die before it becomes relevant. But yeah, not everything with the scheduling works. The Northwestern franchise, for example, the express service there is still being held up by trains in front. I know why it's like it, but I can't fix it with the current system. But those that do work really well. And actually, the last main episode of that series that went out, we implemented 8 new services through a particular station and at least 6 new services on a single stretch of line that I just did not think would work. And it does. And it works flawlessly. So I would love to take all the credit, but I wouldn't have been able to do any of it were it not for Master Trams. Master Trams also has his own channel where he's doing OpenTTD content. He's actually taken over the Zest Husky map that inspired the M4J network. And it's awesome. So it's like a full circle moment. Do check that out as well. I will try and remember to link these things on my channel page and in the description of videos, but I'm always really bad at remembering that because of the 2-hour thing that I was talking about earlier. So yeah, the database project, building up an entire server from scratch to having a full database on there that is constantly evolving with data being added to it, removed, changed, all that stuff. I tried this like 2 years ago. I asked for some help from George, who is a computer scientist, and when he started telling me about it, I was like, I don't know what this is. Oh shit, I can't do any of this. Now, with the aid of AI, which again, I use it to help me with coding, it fills gaps in my knowledge. That's what AI is for, in my opinion. I have a full database up and running. I've shown it off in videos, which is something I never thought I'd be able to do. Certainly not this year. I thought I'd have to go back to, college and learn coding again. But actually, to get it to this stage is something I'm immensely proud of, and I've had a lot of help with it. But I'm so happy that I've got it working. I accelerated the production of it because I thought I had to, because my old programs weren't working. But I then got those programs working, so that kind of negated the need for it. But I've still got it in case I need it. But I can slow down working on that now and try and get it right first time. But to be fair, the team that I've got helping me, George, Master Trams, and other people who've kindly volunteered their time, they're all viewers, so they wouldn't even know about it had they not watched the video. And this is kind of what I mean about that core community thing. George has been around since Cities in Motion 2. Master Trams has been around now for 5-6 years even. These guys have lived a whole life since they started watching my stuff, but they're still here, and now they're actually getting involved in making the content as well, which is just awesome. And Master Trams is even helping me on Minecraft. He's got his own stuff going on there, but he's also part of the Somerset crew. He's building his own city on the server, his own transport links, but he's also helping me with my stuff when I need it. And it's that element of community that really drives my channel. I wasn't exactly the most popular person in my early years and going through school and things like that. So to have found this community of people online through posting videos, I wasn't planning for it, but I'm so glad it happened. And we're doing some really cool things together. And I'm very, very lucky that these guys are working in these industries, because otherwise I'd be right in trouble right now trying to do all this on my own. So I'm really happy with where things are with the M4J network, but I know it's not all down to my own work. So credit definitely where credit is due. So, the verdict. I talked in the summer about this channel may have to stop if things don't change. I stand by that comment, and in all honesty, I have for the last few months considered ending the channel. Still maybe keeping it around so that I can put videos on there as and when, but not committing to it full time anymore. As you know, I lost my job last year. Funny enough, for reasons similar to how my channel is now struggling. It was an algorithm change that screwed the website and lost all our ad revenue. since then I've been job hunting, and that's been my full focus, and YouTube was the distraction, except YouTube is now the full-time focus because I needed it to work. I thought the stress was no longer worth it, in all honesty. And even with the records being broken and each month being better than the last, and we're getting closer to 1 million views, even hitting 2,000 subscribers, I just have this feeling every time something doesn't work of just my heart sinks that little bit lower, you know? And it wasn't fun. I even started another channel this year. A different George, who I used to work with at Racing Games, he reached out to me back in March, I think it was, asking if I would be interested in setting up a channel with him. And he has his own media company. They do a lot of F1 stuff, which is very interesting. And I don't do the F1 side of it, although I wouldn't mind doing something like that one day maybe. But I do the Gaming Chronicle, where, to be honest, that actually fulfilled something that I wanted to do with this channel, which is just to do gaming news and stuff like that. But I didn't do it on this channel because that's not what this channel is for. So the Gaming Chronicle was a really good opportunity to do that. And we had one video about Football Manager that did really, really well. Everything else, not so great. And they've got like twice the views that an M4J video would have. But considering the subject matter, that's expected. These aren't niche videos. These are broad gaming videos. They should be pulling in thousands, if not tens of thousands of views, and they haven't. And again, mega disappointment. And I actually started committing more time to that than M4J because I wasn't enjoying M4J. But then that also went the same way. You could argue the common denominator there is me, but given all the research and reading that I've done, I don't think I was doing anything wrong. The SEO was good, the thumbnails were good, the titles were good, subject matter was good, just wasn't getting the traction. And that's what opened my eyes to the fact that YouTube is not YouTube anymore. It's not the YouTube we know. It's a very, very different ballpark, and I'm not a huge fan of it. So, content creation isn't fun for me anymore. And I want to clarify that comment. I love sitting here talking to you guys like this. And if I could do this, send the video off to someone else, and then they edit it and upload it and all that stuff, that would be awesome. That costs money. I've been on the other side of that this year, where I was actually doing freelance work for other people, editing stuff for them, uploading it, doing all the SEO. I hated it, but I was being paid for it, so that's very different. Here, I do it for free. You know, there are still channels out there that do no editing whatsoever, no fancy titles, no thumbnails. They still get thousands of views per video. They get thousands of subscribers. They get, on Twitch, they get thousands of subscribers as well, which I know how much a Twitch subscription costs, both to a viewer and to a creator. And they also get members on YouTube. And again, I know the revenue split. I know how all this works behind the curtain. So I know how much they're earning. And I'm not shitting on them, by the way. These are people that I've followed for, in some cases, 20 years now, since the beginning of YouTube. You know, they've been a big part of my life. They've been my inspiration. And in some cases, I am very envious of them. But in a fun way, I suppose, because in most cases, I've tried to emulate them. But there is that part of you where you see you've put 17 hours into a video and it gets 17 views. They've done like a little stick figure on a map as a thumbnail, and they've got like 20,000 views in an hour. There is a part of you that spits venom, in all honesty. But I'm grateful for the fact that they're doing well, because it means I have stuff to watch when I need to unwind. Anyway, there are channels that do all this and do well. When I do it, the video flops. You know, 17 views, as I said. Too much work now is needed from a creator just to get the first views in. Part of that is because YouTube's subscriber box doesn't always work. So one of my videos goes out, you guys don't even know about it. You loyal subscribers who've been around for 10 years, for some reason YouTube decides that you don't need to know about it when I upload a video. Don't know why, but that is a thing. And because of that, you miss out, because by the time it's all up and working again, if you're subscribed to 100 channels and we all release a video around the same time, mine's now under a huge stack of 90 odd videos and you're never going to see it. You could go on my channel and go back through the uploaded videos and you might find it that way, but not everyone's going to do that. So it feels like chasing a ghost in many ways. You spend hundreds of hours across multiple weeks and you get a handful of views, and it just isn't worth it. It's a massive waste of time. It's a massive waste of resources. I'm at a point now, as I said, I'm job hunting. I want to be going out and earning money, building a career. I'm also in a position where, you know, I'm in a relationship. We have our own house. We have a mortgage to pay. We're also talking about, we're both in our 30s now. We're talking about the future and what that might involve. You know, things like marriage and children and all that side of things. I don't want to be committing huge amounts of time to this and missing out on that life. So, yeah. The other thing is preserving mental health. I've talked in the past about mental health struggles. I had to talk about it again at the start of the year because someone decided to use it as a weapon against me, which wasn't particularly fair. But every time a video fails, I do take it personally. And I know you guys aren't out there going, oh, don't watch it, that'll upset him. But it's how it feels. Like, you put a lot of effort into something that you think is going to work, and then it doesn't, and it hurts a lot. It hits you hard. Self-esteem on YouTube especially, we all come across as being, you know, very confident people. I am not confident at all. I suffer from anxiety. If I'm in a room full of people I don't know, I'm looking for the door straight away, or the nearest window, whichever's easiest. When I think something should be doing more, it really, really dents the self-esteem. And it's the worst part about it, and again, I'm speaking, I imagine a lot of creators would agree with this, there's so little we can do now to change that. We just make the content, do the best we can with it, and put it out there. You may even notice, even the bigger creators, millions of subscribers, they'll post a video, and within an hour, the title is changed, or the thumbnail is changed, or in some cases, both. YouTube has a feature now called Test and Compare, where you can do up to 3 titles and up to 3 thumbnails, and it'll put out combinations of those, and whichever gets the best response from viewers becomes the official title and thumbnail. So in some cases it's that, but the fact that we're even utilizing that means we are desperate for these things to work, and when it doesn't, it hurts. And there's always controversy when a creator says they're ending a series because of lack of viewership, and you look at it and you're like, but viewership's good, but you've got to compare it to what they're used to. Excuse me, voice is starting to go. I need to wrap this up. So we do what we can on our end. We are not going to spam our videos into groups and on different communities and things like that. That's not what we're about here. I'm not going to do it. I don't want you guys to do it either. There is something called hype that exists on YouTube now. YouTube Hype, I think it's called. I don't fully understand it myself. I'm in the process of learning it, but I believe it's for mobile viewers only, and there is an option along the bar under a video where there's the like count and the like button, and there's the share and things like that. I think there's a button called Hype. I've never seen it on any other channel that I watch, so I can't speak from my own experience. But, excuse me again, I do know that some of you guys out there have used it. Thank you very much for those of you who have. The way Hype works is, if you're between, I think it's 50 and 500,000 subscribers, or 50,000 subscribers, your viewers can boost your video. So there's like a scoreboard somewhere, and people can hype your video and it gets given points, and you as a viewer get a certain number of points, and you can choose how to split those points across different videos. The higher up the leaderboard, the more promotion your video gets, and if you become in the top 10, I think it is, then you get pushed to everyone, and it's like really cool. And it's to help smaller channels grow. But to just jump back into the negative side for a second, the house always wins. YouTube is always going to promote channels that it thinks are the best ones to grow. AI slop gets views, so they're more likely to appear higher in these lists, even with the hype. yeah, it's stacked. But if you can help in any way, that's a good way of doing it. So yeah, there's no creative boost option, so I can't do anything. I can't hype my own video, but you guys can. To cut to the point, the channel is not ending now. We're going to keep going. But as I said to you, I have a partner in life. She's awesome. She's one of the reasons I stick with this even when I'm struggling with mental health and things like that. She has her own business as well. She's a baker. I've helped her with that. I think I've talked about it in these videos before. We've both sort of made a commitment that this year coming, 2026, is the make or break year for both of our businesses. And if either of them aren't performing, it doesn't matter what the other one's doing, the business will end. So her baking's awesome, by the way, so I don't see hers ending. But let's say she's not getting the input she needs by the end of next year, she's going to shut down. If I'm not getting what I need from M4J this time next year, I'm shutting down. And yeah, we're both agreed on it. It's a really... Neither of us particularly want to go down that road, but we feel like we don't have a choice anymore. And especially for me, just to talk personally again, I will be doing another review this time next year, and there will be an absolute verdict as to whether M4J will continue into 2027 and beyond, or whether it will stop. You have a 12-month warning. I'm not going to be one of those people that's like, sorry guys, see you next week. I'm shutting down. But I do have targets that I want to hit, and I was really debating whether to say these targets publicly, because some of you might be like, can't help you, sorry. But views, I want over 30,000 views every month, and that's consistent. That's an average of 30,000 views per month. Subscribers, I want at least 3,000, if not 4, by the end of next year. And then for supporters, this is the one I was most... I don't want to talk about this publicly, but I've already said I want each of my supporter bases to triple by the end of next year. That is dependent on the... Whoops, didn't mean to hit the mic. That is dependent on the tier rewards, though. You don't have to be on the maximum tier. You can be on the lowest. If there's 9 of you on the lowest, even, that's fine. Like, that's enough as far as I'm concerned, because that helps. And it shows that you guys are committed to helping the channel as much as I am. And it's not the money side of it so much, it's the commitment that I think this channel needs. Because another thing is, YouTube's a very lonely experience when you do it like this. If you have a partner that you do it with, it's slightly different. But one of the reasons I stopped streaming, as I said in the summer, was sitting here for 2 hours talking to myself was not fun. Actually having a server where I can hop off 10 o'clock in the evening, 10 o'clock the next morning, hop back on, and everything's changed because you guys have been on overnight building stuff. That's what I want. Same with OpenTTD. I want you guys on there running your own trains. You know, using the system that we've built to actually have a fully implemented timetable. And every time I go on there, something's new and different and exciting. So that's what I want. Those 3 targets. If I hit and maintain those targets, by the time I do my review next year, there's no need to shut down. The channel's growing. It's doing far beyond expectation, and we can keep going. If things are struggling still this time next year, and I've got to choose my words carefully here, because let's say I hit 2 out of 3 of those targets, I'm not going to say, sorry guys, we didn't get the perfect 3, we're ending. If we're looking like we're still trending towards what I want this time next year, then we'll see about continuing. If we're miles away, then there's no point. And to be honest, the only reason I'm not doing that this year is because I didn't want to end on 13 years. That didn't sound good to me at all. Which technically it's 12 and a half, but yeah. Next year it'll be 13 and a half, which kind of is 13, but yeah. I feel like it's come to a point where enough is enough, you know? So I wanted you guys to know this. Basically, we've got 1 more year. I'm going to try out some things next year and see what works. We'll talk about those in just a second. But it's kind of the ultimatum year, 2026. We need to make this work because there's so much that's going to change in my life over the next few years. I don't want to be committing all my time to this if it's just not feasible anymore. So, new focus. As much as I hate it, shorter series, maximum of 20 episodes. We're going to be doing small little projects, different games that I've always wanted to play. That's one of the other things with me is a lot of successful channels tend to stick to one thing. If they're a Minecrafter, they only play Minecraft. Different mod packs, but only Minecraft. I've always wanted to avoid that because when that game ceases to be popular, so do you. Some do survive the transition, many don't. And I'm very much someone who can't just stick to one thing. I like to be doing lots of different things. In my head right now, for example, I've got a city in Minecraft, a network on OpenTTD, a theme park in Planet Coaster. I'm already planning out other video series for next year and beyond, and that's just on M4J. I do lots of other stuff on lots of other channels as well. I've got scripts for videos going on up there as well. It's like 6 million monkeys all running around trying to find a typewriter. It's chaos. But I'm going to try and quieten that down a little bit and focus a bit more. So there are games that I want to try. There's a game called Under Par Golf Architect, I believe it's called. That's in demo at the moment. That will be appearing on the channel next year. Both the demo and the full release. Global Rescue, which is the guys from City Bus Manager. That's coming out. I've got a video of the demo of that, actually, if you want to check that out as well. Euro Truck Simulator 2 has got a coach DLC that I really want to try. I've still got my truck driving rig just here, so I can set that up again. Transport Fever 3 is coming next year, and I do want to finish Transport Fever 2. I want to take the network into the electric age. These are all shorter series, as I said. And then we're going to have what I'm calling an anchor series, which in this case right now, there's the microphone again, OpenTTD. It'll be videos going out fairly regularly or consistently, but not weekly. So with OpenTTD, it was every 2 weeks. It did turn into every week because I found a real rhythm. But that's the other thing with me is I ebb and flow. So next year, there'll be a period where I play like Planet Coaster regularly for like 3 months, and then it will stop again. That is another one I want to do. The map for Global Ventures is on the wall above you right now. And every time I look at it, I get inspired again, because that is probably the best thing I've ever drawn, which is quite sad. There aren't technical drawings, of course, because I've done lots of those in my youth. But yeah, the anchor series right now is Transport Tycoon, OpenTTD, and the M4J network. The database is part of that, so if I'm not doing a main video in the series, I'll be doing a database project video, because I want to document that as well for my benefit more than anything, because I want to prove that I can do it. And yeah, once a month maybe you'll get those videos, depending on how long it takes to do. Same thing with Minecraft, same thing with Planet Coaster, but they will be more sporadic. You might get 4 or 5 of those a year. So I need to pull my finger out in many cases. And it's really hard to say that with Minecraft because you guys are going to be on the server with me. So being able to do projects like collaborative projects and things like that, I want to create content. I just don't want to commit to a time scale in how long those videos, like how regularly those videos will be. So if I get loads of new supporters and you all come and join me on the server, videos there might pick up slightly. But I'm not committing to it, if that makes sense. I don't want to say something and then it doesn't work, basically. Shorter videos in the side series, so maximum 45 minutes, preferably around 30. Try to keep things short and sweet. Cut out the waffle, which I've clearly failed to do here as well. And yeah, just try different things. Try not to do the clickbaity, morally bankrupt crap that a lot of people are doing these days. But things clearly have to change on my side as well, because videos aren't doing as well. And you have to look at yourself first when that's happening before you can look at everyone else. And I know I've said, you know, word of mouth and lack of support and things like that. Those are all valid comments, but the content still has to be good on my side for you guys to enjoy it. So it is very much a two-way thing, as I said. The only reason I'm doing this video is because I really do appreciate all of the support you guys have given, and I feel like I need to be as honest and as transparent with you guys as possible. I don't want to be one of those ones who just disappears without a trace. I don't want to be one of those ones who just shuts down and leaves people, because I enjoy watching other people, and I would feel sad if they just disappeared. I don't want to be the guy to do that to you. So if things do go badly next year and things do end, at least I can go out saying to myself that I gave it every opportunity and I let you guys know where things were. This channel is both my biggest success and my biggest failure, in all honesty. To be sat here now, 12 and a half years later, did not think I would do that when I first started. I started this channel as an escape from my struggling university life. And because of this channel, I went and changed my entire career focus from an engineering one to a media one. And I got to work for one of the largest gaming sites in the world as a result. And that's insane to say it out loud. All of that because you guys liked me building underground tram routes on Cities in Motion 2. Simple as that. Since then, we've come a long way. I've got to go off and do some really cool things. Got to see games that, in some cases, never even reached the public eye, and got to try out. Got to try features in games. Went to previews. Was part of the F1 Manager launch. Went and saw things for the F1 games that had never been seen before. Got to interview people from all walks of the gaming world about things. It's just I can't summarize all of that right now because we'll be here for as long as we've been here already. But the channel was the whole reason behind all of that. It completely changed my life. And for every single one of you that's watched the videos, liked, supported, subscribed, even donated money or become a Patreon supporter or a YouTube member, you have helped me achieve all of this. So I know I'm moaning about it and saying it's not doing as well as I'd like, but that's only because now it has to pay for itself. If it weren't for that, I would still be sat here now saying it's a really cool hobby and I love doing it. But because of my personal situation over the last year or so, I've had to treat this a lot more seriously, but that doesn't mean I don't value it for what it already is. So thank you very much for those of you who have helped get to this stage. You have been a big part of my success as well. So that's again, I hate talking about this stuff because you get a bit too personal and a bit too emotional about it, but it's true, it's genuine. I'm not making this up. I just wish it was doing more right now, because there is a part of me that's a little bit when I do job applying and stuff, I hide the M4J stuff a little bit, because 12 and a half years and 2,000 subscribers doesn't exactly show a candidate who knows how to take something to success. I really push the other stuff that I've done where I've grown it from 0 to 20,000 and things like that, because that's way more successful. But this is the thing I'm proud of personally. I just can't use it professionally. I think that makes sense. This is just as much my fault. There are times where I half-ass the SEO side of things and the thumbnail and the title, and not so much now, but back in the day I did. And perhaps the channel hasn't grown as quickly as it should have because of it. So I feel like I owe an apology a little bit for that as well. And sometimes when things disappear for a while, or I talk about a video series that's coming soon and then it never comes at all, that's on me. So I'm going to try and be less slack about that as well. The games I've talked about just now, they will appear on the channel throughout next year. Whenever they're available to, they will. So yeah, use the YouTube hype, share the content, hit the like button. If you can, I know things are tough right now, but if you can become a supporter in any way, shape or form, then please do. I want to have more conversation about the tiers. Some of them were made quite quickly and didn't have much thought put into them. The lowest tier I want is £1. Whatever that is in your currency, but £1 a month. And I want that tier to have access to all early access content, which is something else that I want to get back to doing. I've tried doing member exclusive videos on YouTube. I think I've done 3 or 4 of them. And right now they have no views. Literally none. Because even my members aren't actually interested in those videos, which is worrying in some regards. But I don't think I'm going to do member exclusive content anymore, but all members will have early access. And something else I've talked about in the past is I'm considering nuking the Patreon and just having YouTube membership, just to keep things all under one roof. I think it's incredibly unfair that supporters on Patreon don't have access to early access content on, excuse me, ran out of oxygen then. They don't have access to early access content on YouTube. I'm amazed there's no integration between the two, but unfortunately there isn't. And I would upload the videos to Patreon, but I need the views on YouTube to help with the algorithm. So it's a real shit scenario to be in. And to my Patreon supporters who have been my longest supporters, I want to talk to you guys especially. First of all, I'm sorry that you don't have early access to videos. And second of all, I want to make that right. So we'll talk about what's going to happen with Patreon and whether it's going to move across. Because the other thing is, I can't force you guys to move across. If you don't want to, then you'll no longer be Patreon supporters, but you also won't be YouTube members. So that's a whole other conversation to have as well. But yeah, £1 a month will be the lowest. I don't really want the highest to be more than £10 a month. So I'm going to try and come up with some tiers that fill those gaps. It might be 4 tiers, say, like £1, £2.50, £5, £7.50, £10. So that's 5 tiers. And try and make it work a lot better for you as well as for me. Because as I said, times are tough. It feels wrong to ask for money right now, but this is a business and it does need to be successful. So hopefully you guys understand that as well. The last thing is, give me your feedback, where if I've put up a poll, vote on it. Everyone has a voice. Every voice is equal to the others. If you have an opinion, please do use it and vote on the poll. And if you have any feedback at all, you don't have to post it publicly. You can message me on Discord. You can message me privately wherever you can find me, basically. I get that not everyone wants to say everything publicly, but if there's any games you think I should cover, if the length of the videos isn't to your liking, or if the style of video isn't to your liking, or if you've just got any quirky ideas that you think would help me stand out, by all means let me know. And the final thing, as I've said, is like the video. It takes 3 seconds to do, makes a huge difference. Even if you just put a comment underneath along with it, just saying thanks for the video or nice video, or if you have any constructive criticism, it doesn't always have to be positive stuff. You can hit the dislike button and say whatever associates with that. I'll appreciate it because it helps. So yeah, community posts, interact with videos, interact with shorts, interact with whatever it might be. Just interaction will help. And if you can become a supporter financially, that's also a big help. Anyway, 1 hour 27 minutes. I've kept it under 90 minutes at least, so that's an achievement. I started recording in daylight and it's now dark outside as well, so that's something. The channel is staying. I want it to stay. I want it to be here for as long as it can be, but it needs to change. It really does. And I know I hinted at it in the summer and I said we'd have 5 months to review things, but this is the ultimatum now. It needs to do something special in the next 12 months. Otherwise, unfortunately, we will have to consider, well, it's not even a consideration anymore. This is the consideration. If it's not where it needs to be this time next year, then we will be shutting the doors December 31st, 2026. So if you don't want that to happen, I think I've given you a fairly good idea as to what needs to happen for that to not happen. It sounds like a really sad way to end the video. I don't want to end it on that. So I will say again, everyone who's supported the channel, thank you very much. It doesn't go unappreciated. There are people who I genuinely consider friends now, who I've met through this. There's collaborations that I've done in the past that have been awesome. There's been a lot of bad experiences as well. Unfortunately, some of those in more recent times. But the channel's changed my life, and I will always be grateful for that and the opportunities that it's given me. So you guys have all played a part in that. You're all awesome. Even when we do have disagreements on things, you're all still awesome. And I appreciate it so much. So thank you very much. thank you everyone who's supported me this year as well, because this is technically the last video of 2025. So as I said, we've broken view records and all sorts, and it's been really cool. And Georgia Moss Trams in particular, thank you for helping me with the M4J network. You guys will be on it next year. That's something else we're going to do. Early next year, I am going to get the server up and running. I want you on there. You've been supporting me for so long, patiently waiting for that day. It will happen in 2026. And I want it to happen before March. Speaking of next year, there will be no videos in January. I will be taking some time off. My birthday's at the end of the month. I want to enjoy it with my family and my friends and things like that. So no videos in January. I will be working on content, but not posting any. February, first week of February will be the first video of the year. And we'll go from there. So I think I've covered literally everything on here, which I'm very happy to have been able to do. But yeah, thank you everybody. If you celebrate Christmas, have a great Christmas. If you celebrate anything else this time of year, I hope you have a good one too. Have a good new year, all of you who celebrate that. Thank you very much for keeping this dream alive for now. And yeah, until next time, I'll see you soon.